Welcome to This Explainer. We're going to completely transform your mindset today. We're moving away from that reactive task execution mode and stepping straight into proactive strategic management. Have you ever ended a long, totally exhausting workday feeling like you somehow accomplished absolutely nothing of real value? Well, if so, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're taking insights directly from the BOC Digital Skills Portal to equip you with some proven frameworks for deciding what to work on first, especially when literally everything feels urgent. Here's our roadmap for the next few minutes. 1. The prioritization problem. 2. The Eisenhower matrix. 3. The Moscow method. 4. Time blocking your work. And finally, 5. The multitasking myth. We're going to systematically untangle the chaos of your daily workflow. So let's dive right into Section 1, the prioritization problem. Let's paint a really familiar picture. It's a chaotic Monday morning at a fictional company, let's call it Tor Tech. You sit at your desk, you fire up your computer, and bam, you've got 12 distinct tasks staring back at you. Your manager urgently needs a report by noon, a crucial client email has to go out by 2 p.m., plus you need to order office supplies, plus the shared drive needs cleaning up. So what do you do first? When you're bombarded with conflicting demands like this, the answer is absolutely not everything at once. You can't just power your way through it. You need a system. Because here's the truth. Most professionals don't lack the ability to work hard. What we lack is a reliable system for deciding exactly where to direct all of that hard work. Without a framework, we naturally fall into two dysfunctional defaults, and both of them pretty much guarantee the most important work gets done last. Or, not at all. The first default is reactive work. This is where you simply respond to requests in the exact order they arrive. You end up treating a casual Slack message from a colleague as equally important as a client deliverable with a strict deadline. Basically, whoever shouts the loudest controls your day. The second default is comfort-seeking work. This is where you tackle the easy tasks first just because they feel so satisfying to cross off. It creates a very dangerous illusion of productivity. But remember, a cleared inbox and a missed deadline are never a good trade. Having a framework gives you consistent, defensible decisions. All right, moving on to Section 2, the Eisenhower matrix. To escape that chaos and stop relying on those dysfunctional defaults, let's talk about the most widely used prioritization tool for your personal daily sequencing. The Eisenhower matrix brilliantly illustrates how you've got to evaluate every single task on two distinct dimensions: urgency and importance. By forcing every task through this kind of filter, you completely eliminate guesswork and start making real strategic choices. Let's break down exactly how these four quadrants work. Quadrant 1 is your do now zone. These are the urgent and important tasks. We're talking about things that have a deadline today or tomorrow. They directly affect a deliverable, a client, or a core team commitment. Using our Tor Tech example, that client report due at noon that you haven't even started yet, yep, that lives right here. These are your absolute non-negotiables. You've got to handle these immediately and, crucially, without any interruption. Now, Quadrant 2. This is where the magic really happens. This is the schedule zone. These tasks are important, but not urgent. They matter significantly for long-term outcomes, but there's no immediate screaming deadline pressing on you today. Think about reorganizing that shared drive, developing a new filing system, or taking time for proactive client communication. If you don't deliberately schedule specific time blocks for these long-term tasks, they will continuously get pushed aside by the daily fires of Quadrant 1. Then we have Quadrant 3, the delegate or minimize zone. These are urgent but not important tasks. They feel super urgent because someone is standing right at your desk or your inbox is buzzing, but they don't actually advance any meaningful outcome. Responding to routine administrative emails while a major client deliverable is outstanding is a classic example. Always ask yourself, if I don't do this today, does a client relationship or team deliverable actually suffer? If the answer is no, it's a Quadrant 3 task. Handle it quickly or delegate it, but absolutely do not let it consume your prime focus time. And finally, Quadrant 4 is the eliminate zone. These tasks are neither urgent nor important. They simply consume your time without producing any meaningful output whatsoever. Think about reorganizing folders that literally nobody has clicked on since 2018, or sitting in meetings that could have easily been an email. You should eliminate these entirely from your schedule. But a quick reality check here. Prioritization frameworks are decision-making tools, not an excuse to just unilaterally drop work. It's always smart to confirm with your manager before eliminating a task, because what looks low priority to you might have invisible downstream implications. When in doubt, just ask. Okay, Section 3, the Moscow method. Let's switch gears to our next tool. While the Eisenhower matrix is perfect for your own personal queue, what happens when a whole team needs to agree on a fixed scope? Well, that is where the Moscow method comes in. It breaks project requirements into 4 distinct categories. Must-have items are your non-negotiable minimums. If these aren't delivered, the project simply cannot launch. You have to limit this category ruthlessly. Next are should-have items. These are important and add massive value, but technically, the project survives without them. Then could-have items are your low-stakes, desirable additions, the nice-to-haves that get cut first when deadlines tighten. Finally, and honestly most importantly, won't have. These are items explicitly agreed to be out of scope. Naming these categories, especially those won't have items, is a literal superpower for preventing scope creep and managing team expectations right from day one. So the crucial takeaway here is that these frameworks do not compete. They're complementary tools designed for entirely different professional scenarios. You use Eisenhower to govern your own desk on a Tuesday morning, and you use Moscow when you're sitting in a conference room with your team trying to scope out the next big sprint.
Moving right along to Section 4, time blocking your work.
Prioritization tells you what to do, sure, but now we need to physically defend your calendar to ensure the work actually gets done. This is where time blocking comes in. It's the act of converting your priorities into a bulletproof schedule. Step 1 is to batch similar, low-cognitive tasks together. Don't scatter email responses throughout your day. Do them all at once to preserve your deep focus. Step 2 is assigning specific start and end times on your calendar. A block that says 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. client report is a firm commitment, not just a gentle suggestion. And step 3 is absolutely critical. Honor the block like a real face-to-face meeting with your boss. If you take absolutely nothing else away from this section, please remember this rule. Protect at least one 30 to 60-minute quadrant 2 slot every single day. If you don't deliberately protect this focus time for the important but not urgent tasks, you'll simply never make progress on the work that matters long term. Finally, Section 5, the multitasking myth. Even with a perfect schedule, you've got 2 major villains that are going to attack your day. The biggest one, the persistent illusion of multitasking. Research consistently shows that what we confidently call multitasking is really just rapid task switching. Every single time you shift your attention from a spreadsheet to an email and back again, your brain requires time to reload the context of what you were doing. And that cognitive cost adds up so incredibly fast. Reloading context each time costs you a staggering 20 to 40% of your daily productive output. It feels productive in the moment, but it is actually destroying your efficiency.
The other villain is the inability to say no to new requests. When someone interrupts your scheduled focus time, the professional response is not silence, and it's certainly not an unconditional yes. Instead, use this exact script. I can absolutely get to that. I'm currently working on X, which is due at this time. Would you like me to prioritize this over that, or should I address it after? This is brilliant, right? Because you aren't actually refusing the task. Instead, you're politely but firmly inviting your manager or colleague into a collaborative reprioritization decision. You put the choice back on them while fiercely protecting your existing commitments.
To truly defeat the multitasking myth, you need to embrace single tasking during your deep work blocks. Turn off your notifications. Close all those unrelated browser tabs. Commit entirely to single tasking and finish one batch of work before you even think about starting another. Don't alternate between that Tor Tech client report and your inbox every 10 minutes. Commit entirely. The productivity gain from uninterrupted, single-task focus is enormous. It's the real difference between work that's just good and work that is truly great. Output quality and speed both skyrocket when you stop making your brain constantly switch gears. So, we've covered a ton of ground today, from the reactive traps we fall into, to the Eisenhower matrix and Moscow method, right through to defending our time and focus. But before you tackle your very next task today, I want you to look at your list. What is secretly hiding in quadrant 3? What tasks are dressing up as urgencies but are actually just stealing your focus from the long-term work that truly matters? Identify the imposters, take your schedule back, and do the work that actually matters. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.